Do I belong here? Aside hijacking people's abilities. Hijacking must be.
Yes.
Hijacking people's abilities. Stereotypes also do damage by making people feel they don't belong. Many minorities drop out of college, and many women drop out of math and science because they just don't feel they fit. To find out how this happens, we follow college women through their calculus course. This is often when students decide math or careers involving math are right for them. Over the semester, we ask to report their feelings about math and their sense of belonging in math. For example, when they thought about math, did they feel like a full member of the math community, or did they feel like an outsider? Did they feel comfortable, or did they feel anxious? Did they feel good or bad about their math skills? The women meet with the growth mindset, those who thought math ability could be improved felt a fairly strong and stable sense of belonging, and they were able to maintain this even when they thought there was a lot of negative stereotyping going around. One student described it this way. In a math class, female students were told they were wrong when they were not. They were in fact doing these things in novel ways. It was not only on the instructor not to see the students. Good reasoning. It was all right because we were working in groups and we were able to give and receive support among us students. We discussed our interesting ideas among ourselves to them, as it should be, but they could still feel comfortable with themselves and confident about themselves in a math setting. They could feedback,
Fight.
but
They could fight back.
they could fight back. But women with a fixed mindset as the semester wore on felt a shrinking sense of belonging, and the more they felt the presence of stereotyping in their class, the more they comfort with math with it. One student said that her sense of belonging fell because I was respected by the professor with his comment that was a good guess. Whatever I made a correct answer in class. The stereotype of low ability was able to. Could you continue? Could you continue with the definition?
Yeah. The stereotype of a low ability was able to invade them. They define them, and they take away their comfort and confidence. I'm not saying it's their fault by any means. Prejudice is a deeply ingrained societal problem, and I do not want to blame the victims of it. I am simply saying that growth mindset can help people to see prejudice for what it is, someone else's view of them, and to confront it with their confidence and abilities intact. Let's see the next one. Trusting people's opinions. Many females have problems not only with the stereotypes, but with other people's opinions of them in general. They trust them too much. One day, I went into a drugstore in Hawaii to buy dental floss and deodorant. And after fetching my items, I went to wait in line. There were two women together in front of me waiting to pay. Since I am an incurable time stuffer, at some point I decided to get my money ready for when my turn came. So I walked up, put the items way on the side of the counter, and started to gather up the bills that were strewn throughout my purse. The two women went berserk. I don't know what that is. Berserk. I explained that in no ways I was trying to cut in from them. I was just preparing for when my turn came. I thought the matter was resolved, but when I left the store, they were waiting for me. They got on my face and yelled, "You're a bad-mannered person." My husband, who had seen the whole thing from the beginning to end, thought they were nuts, but they had a strange and disturbing effect of me, and I had a hard time shaking off their verdict. This vulnerability afflicts many of the most able, high-achieving females. Why should this be? When they are little, these girls are often so perfect and they delight everyone's telling them so. So they are so well behaved, they are so cute, they are so helpful, and they are so precious. Girls to trust people's estimate of them. Gee, everyone's so nice. No, Gee, everyone's so nice to me. If they criticize me, it must be true. Even females at the top universities in the country say that other people's opinions, are a good way to know their abilities. Boys are constantly being scolded and punished. When we observed in grade school classrooms, they saw that boys got 8 times more criticism than girls for their conduct. Boys are also constantly calling each other slobs and morons. The evaluations lose a lot of their power. A male friend once called me a slob. He was over to dinner at my house, and while we were eating, I dripped some food off my blouse. "That's because you are such a slob," he said. I was shocked. It was then when I realized no one had ever said anything like that to me. Males say it to each other all the time. It may not be kind to say, even in jest, but it certainly makes them think twice before buying into other people's evaluation. Even when women reach the pinnacle of success, other people's attitude can get them. Frances Conley, one of the most eminent neurosurgeons in the world. In fact, she was the first woman ever given tenure in neurosurgery at an American medical school. Yet, careless comments from male colleagues, even assistants, could fill her with self-doubt. One day during surgery, a man condescendingly called her honey. Instead of returning the compliment, she questioned herself. "Is a honey?" she wondered. "Especially this honey, good enough and talented enough to be doing this operation?" The fixed mindset, plus stereotyping, plus women trusts in other people's assessment of them, all of this contribute to a gender gap in math and science. The gap is painfully evident in the world of high tech. Julie Lynch, a budding techie, was already writing computer code when she was a junior in high school. Her father and two brothers worked in technology, and she loved it too. Then, her computer programming teacher criticized her. She had written a computer program, and the program ran just fine, but he didn't like a shortcut she had taken. Her interest evaporated. Instead, she went on to study recreation and public relations. Math and science need to be made more hospitable places for women. Hospitable, oh yeah. Math and science need to be made more hospitable places for women. And women need all the growth mindset they can get their rightful places in these fields. Very well.
Well, when things go chess player of all time. She was not the one with the most talent, Susan reports. Judith was a slow started but very hardworking. A colleague, a colleague of mine has two daughters who are math whizzes.
Yes.
Or whizzes. No, I don't know. Whizzes.
Yes.
One is a graduate student in math at a top university. The other was the first girl of rank number one in the country of an elite math test, won a nationwide math contest, and is now a neuroscience major at a top university. What's their secret? Is it passed down in the genes? I believe it's passed down in the mindset. It's the most growth mindset family I've ever seen. In fact, their father applied the growth mindset to everything. I never forget a conversation we had some years ago. I was single at the time, and he asked me what my plan was for finding a partner. He was aghast when I said I didn't have a plan. You wouldn't expect your work to get done by itself, he said. Why is this any different? It was
Mm.
inconceivable.
Yes.
It was inconceivable to him that you could have a goal and not take steps to make it happen. In short, the growth mindset lets people, even those who are targets of negative labels, use and develop their minds fully. Their heads are not filled with the limiting thoughts, a fragile sense of belonging, and a belief that other people can define them. Growth your mindset. Think about your hero. Do you think of this person as someone with extraordinary abilities who achieved with little effort? No. Go find out the truth. Find out tremendous effort that went into their accomplishment and admire them more. Think of times other people audit you do you just assume they were smarter or more talented. Now consider the idea that they just used better strategies, taught themselves more, practiced harder, and worked their way through obstacles. You
Obstacles.
can
Yes.
do because you can do that too if you want to. Are these situations where you get stupid, where you distinguish your intelligence?
Wait. Engage. Disengage.
Disengage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This where you disengage your intelligence. This time you are in one of those situations. Get yourself into a growth mindset. Think about learning and improvement, not judgment, and hook it back up. Do you label your kids? This one is the artist, and that one is the scientist. Next time, remember that you are not helping them, even though you may be praising them. Remember, our study where praising kids' ability lowered their IQ scores. Find a growth mindset way to compliment
Compliment.
complimenting them. Compliment them. More than half of our society belongs to a negatively stereotyped group. First, you have all the women, and then you have all the other groups who are not supposed to be good at something or other. Give them the gift of the growth mindset. Create an environment that teaches the growth mindset to the adults and children in your life, especially the ones who are targets of negative
Targets.
targets targets of negative stereotypes. Even when the negative label comes along, they'll remain in charge of their learning.
Very well. So we just finished a chapter. I think that it could be cool to leave it here so that we can start with the rest of the club of the people who didn't assist
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
The chapter. We can stop the chapter. Perfect.
Most minds.
So how you doing? Where are you, Leo?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you well. Could you repeat?
How you doing? Where are you?
Yeah, we are with my family here in what was this